Brad Johnson here from johnson.audio, and today I'm going to show you how you can get one of the best mic cables for a fraction of the cost if you're willing to build it yourself. Now, we're going to be making a Mogami cable. It's actual Mogami quad core cabling with Neutrik connectors that you can get from redco.com. I'm also going to go through all the different tools that you're going to need to set up. There is an upfront investment to being able to solder your own cables, but it's a great investment to make, because you can take this skill not only with cables, but you can build microphones, preamps, compressors, EQs, and you could really get some great gear for a fraction of the cost. The cable itself probably costs you anywhere from $8 to $10 here. That would normally cost you $50 retail, so you can save big money. Now I'm going to leave links to all of the stuff that I talk about here so I can take out all the guesswork for you. It's simply just to help you just get better gear, better cabling into your studio and help you learn just kind of a little skill. Now, I'm no means an expert at soldering. I only started doing this when I wanted to make my own stuff because of just cash flow deficiency, and it's really not that hard. I'll also leave a video link to this guy who teaches soldering, and he's really hilarious. He's very quirky. He's probably inhaled too much soldering fumes, but it's a really great just introduction on how to solder well. So with that being said, I'm going to kind of just go through the things that you're going to need. Obviously, we're going to need our cable. So this is the Mogami quad core cable. And I have a TRS connector, because I'm going to do both TRS and XLR to kind of show you how to do both, because they're both very, you use both of those in the studio often. And then I have my XLR. So the XLR connector, we're going to be doing the male today, and then female, you can just reverse it. So just reverse engineer that. That's what we're going to be going through. I have my soldering iron. I don't want to get too close and too high because it's on and it's very hot. And the soldering iron does have a chisel tip, which is very much needed for good solder, or for good solder joints. I have my solder right here. I have some solder wick to clean my soldering iron. I also have a digital multimeter to help check the connection at the end and make sure everything is running well. I mean, you could obviously check it yourself when you plug in your microphones, your preamp, or whatever, and if you get sound, you know it works. If you don't, then you know you didn't. So you have to go back and troubleshoot, but I find the multimeter helps me troubleshoot right away. I also have a pair of wire strippers. I have a pair of wire cutters. So these are pretty much the essentials to get started. I also have a vice grip. This is not, you don't need a vice grip. I have it just because I feel like it's easier to work with. It's hard sometimes to be holding one thing and try to solder. So I got a vice grip as well. So that's pretty much the essential tools that you're going to need. I want to kind of just go through and show you a little bit about the wire itself, because with this particular wiring, it's going to be a little different than some others, so it can be a little confusing if you're like, oh, I want to build my own Mogami cables. I bought this stuff, and then you're looking at it, and the quad cabling can be really confusing, and it was really confusing for me, at least when I did it. Maybe I'm just slow, but this video should help catch you up to speed quickly. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take the wire strippers, we're going to go to the end of the wire, it's going in about maybe half an inch, a little over half an inch. And you just want to strip off the shield part. So you don't want to cut all the way in. You just want to just gently cut a ring around it, and we can just pull that off. So now we have the inside of our cable. This gold part right here is the shield, or kind of the ground wire. And so I'm just going to kind of just pull it aside from the other parts of the cable. As you can see, there's two whites, two blues. That's quad, 4 quad cabling. I'm going to twist this copper wire together, trying to make it clean. So if I have little extra braids here, we're going to snip all that off. So I'm going to take wire cutters, snip that. Now, for the 4 wires here, we want to separate them. I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to strip off the shielding from each one. We're going to go in, it's probably like just a fingernail's hair worth. Doing the blue first. You can see that. Do the same thing with the white. And I'll explain to you here in a second what you need to know about these. And there's going to be a little bit of a center clear string there. You can just cut that off. We don't need that. Let's get rid of it. All right. Now, there's a thing called tinning where you put solder on the ends of these. So we want to tin together the two white wires, and we want to tin together the two blue wires. And then we also want to tin this copper shielding. So I'm going to put it into my vice grip. Go ahead and try to twist the copper together here. Cool. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the white wire, and I'm also going to tin the copper part. Here we go. All right. So now you can see with this particular ends of these wires are all tinned and they're all put together. So now I'm going to explain a little bit about how to assemble this to the TRS cable and how to assemble this to the XLR cable. I don't want to make this video too long. I want you just to be able to understand the basics of how to do this, and there's going to be other resources that will help you do it better. When you're looking at the XLR, you have 3 pins, and now we have 3 different parts of the wire. The blue is going to be hot, the white is going to be cold, and the copper shielding is going to be ground. And that's going to be represented on numbers. If you look back here where you're actually going to solder the wire to the XLR cable, you're going to see in here, you're going to see numbers. At the very top here is going to be 3, which is going to be the cold. That's going to be the white. So white's going to go to 3. Then you go over and you'll see 2, which is going to be hot, which is going to be the blue, which is where you're going to solder the blue wire. And then 1 is going to be ground. So 1's ground, 2's hot, 3 is cold. So blue, hot, white, cold, the copper shielding, ground. So that's where you're going to solder it onto here. For the TRS connector, as you can take a look at it, we have this top part, the middle part, and down here. This down part right here is where you're going to solder the ground, so the copper part. So 1 on the XLR is down here on the TRS. And then the middle part right here is going to be hot. So that's going to be 2 on the XLR, and then the top one is going to be the cold. So top is going to be ring, this part right here, because TR is tip, ring, sleeve. The middle is going to be tip, and the ground is going to be sleeve. So that's how you're going to know. So you're going to make sure that the connections are right. Otherwise, you're not going to get any signal going through your cable. So again, top is cold, middle hot, bottom ground. Remember that. Very, very important. I'm not going to go through and show you how to solder everything together because those other resources will definitely do that for you. Just need to know though, for the TRS connector, because of the way the ring, tip, and the sleeve part are, you're going to want to make sure that your white connector is a little bit longer than your blue, just because it needs to reach over and solder on top of here, while the hot or your blue cable needs to solder in the middle. It doesn't need to be as long. If you have a shorter white cable, it'll be really hard to, sometimes it might be difficult to solder on top of it. You might not have enough length. So just keep that in mind for when you're doing your TRS cable. And at the end, I'm not going to get into using a multimeter. Just know that multimeters are very helpful. I just really want this video just to show you how you would be able to use the Mogami cabling with the Neutrik connectors and make an XLR cable or a TRS cable. I hope that you got something out of this. If you did, please leave me a comment. Let me know if you've ever made anything yourself, your success stories, your failures. I guarantee you probably will make a few mistakes here and there, but I promise you it's not that hard, and you can do a lot of cool stuff with learning how to solder. I've done dsub cables, $250 cables I was able to make for like 20 bucks or something like that, maybe like $30, I don't remember, but it's to save myself so much money doing this. And it's just a great little hobby to have. You'll be a producer engineer's favorite friend if you're in a studio environment where you're able to fix cables and troubleshoot cables. It's a very helpful skill to have. If you got anything out of this video, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to my channel. I'm here to help you sing your story, mix your mission, and master your message. I am Brad Johnson, johnson.audio, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.